Namaste and welcome to Aumkar. My name is Meg and I'm one of the creators of this channel. Normally, we make videos about Dharmic religions and issues related to the South Asian diaspora in the West. But today, I'm going to talk to you about voting. This video is directed towards our American viewers, but may also apply to you in other countries. Now, before you start yelling at me to stay out of politics and stick to my lane, I believe that voting is part of our dharma as citizens. And because I'm fortunate enough to have this small platform, I feel that it's my duty to share this message with you. I'll start off by telling you that I hate politics. It's annoying, it's stupid, it's filled with politicians that are just pushing their own agendas. But at the end of the day, we're the ones in charge of electing our representatives. And if we don't like what they're doing, we should hold them accountable and vote them out. You know, growing up, we all believe that everything is fine, that we're at the peak of civilization. But I'm sure that many people in the past probably thought the same about their own times. We learn in history class about fascism and the rise of Nazi Germany, and we may think to ourselves, well, that's stupid. How could anyone fall for that? That could never happen today. Well, I hate to break it to you, but it is happening today. Just because we live in a digital age doesn't mean that we're immune to disinformation and ignorance. People tend to only listen to what they like, resulting in these echo chambers where the margins are amplified and reality is distorted. Think about our grandparents that lived through World War II or the India-Pakistan partition. I'm sure that when they were kids, they probably thought that everything would be fine, and they had no idea that their lives would be turned upside down. So please, open your eyes and look at the world around you. Fascism is on the rise. Disinformation is rampant. Racial injustice still exists today. And on top of all of this, we have a global pandemic. So with all of this going on, there is no room for inaction. Since this channel focuses on the Dharmic religions, I thought I'd give you an example from Hindu theology to illustrate my point. Those of you familiar with the Mahabharata might know about the Draupadi Vastraharan event, but if you have no idea what I'm talking about, here's a Cliff Notes version. A long time ago in ancient India, there was a ruling family called the Kuru dynasty. Now, due to a series of unfortunate events beyond the scope of this video, the dynasty broke up into two groups of cousins, the Pandavas, or the good guys, and the Kauravas, or the bad guys. Now, I'll let you use your imagination to decide which modern-day politicians are the Pandavas and the Kauravas. In order to resolve this dispute, the elders of the kingdom decided to divide the land into two parts, but the Pandavas got the short end of the stick. They got this barren wasteland where nothing was growing. But instead of complaining, the Pandavas worked really hard and transformed that land into arable land and built a very prosperous kingdom. The oldest brother, Yudhishthir, became the king of the Pandavas, and he was well loved by his constituents and respected by the kings in the neighboring kingdoms. And so all those kings got together and decided to declare Yudhishthir the emperor of Bharat, or ancient India. As you can imagine, the Kauravas became super jealous and wanted to figure out a way to steal all of this from the Pandavas. So they decided to invite the Pandavas over for a game of dice. Now, playing dice in ancient India was the equivalent of modern-day politicians playing golf to kind of ease the tensions. Since the Pandavas were good, decent people, they thought that they could use this opportunity to make amends with their Kaurava cousins. But little did they know that the Kauravas were cheating by using loaded dice. And so what started off as a friendly game of dice evolved into this gambling match where they started betting all of their possessions. And because the Kauravas were cheating, the Pandavas slowly lost all of their possessions. When King Yudhishthir had nothing else left to wager, he started wagering off his brothers. And one by one, he lost all of his brothers and himself. And at that point, the noble King Yudhishthir did the unthinkable and decided to wager his wife Draupadi, who he lost. So Draupadi, the Empress of India, was now a slave to the Kauravas. And the Kauravas decided that this was their time to get back at the Pandavas, so they ordered Draupadi to be dragged into the court by her hair, they berated her, and they started to disrobe her. Now you might be wondering what any of this has to do with the point of this video. Well, while this was happening to Draupadi, that courtroom was filled with some of the strongest warriors and most respected elders of the Kuru dynasty. And not a single one of them did anything to stop this from happening. They were all silent. They made their own justifications on why they can't act or it's not in their place to say anything. Grandsire Bhishma, who was arguably the strongest person in that room, could have easily stood up in that instant and slaughtered the Kauravas and saved Draupadi. But he didn't do that. Those who choose not to vote are like Bhishma. They have the power to make a change and yet choose inaction. Now we can be angry at the code of us for being such reprehensible people, but what makes me even more upset are those people that are bystanders, that choose inaction. Luckily, Lord Krishna intervened and magically draped Draupadi so that she could not be disrobed. But the damage had been done, and this single event arguably led to the Mahabharata war, which nearly destroyed the Indian subcontinent. Now the next question you might ask is, well, why didn't Lord Krishna just do something in the beginning to stop them from gambling in the first place? But he was watching them, and he wanted to see what actions they would take with the situations that they're put in. We all have free will, and while God or Bhagwan can intervene, he wants to see what our intentions and actions are first. The Bhagavad Gita teaches us that action is better than inaction. Even if you take an action but don't get your intended consequences, at least you stood for something. You only have control over your own actions, not the results. So, do the best that you can do and leave the rest of the results to God. So if there's only one message that you take from this video, it's this. Please vote. No one's telling you to go to war or give away your possessions. All you have to do is cast a single ballot, and you can change the trajectory of this nation. If you want more information, please go to votesaveamerica.com. It's a completely free resource where you can look up your state, look up whether you're registered to vote, how to request an absentee ballot, what are the deadlines for submitting your absentee ballot, and other information. I've used this website myself and I found it very helpful and user-friendly. And since I work in a hospital, I'm usually not able to vote in person. So I've been requesting an absentee ballot for years. And if I can do that, you literally have no excuse not to vote. This will likely be my last video for a very long time, so I want to take the opportunity to thank each and every one of you for watching our videos for the past 4 years and for your words of encouragement. This video means a lot to me, so please share it with your family and friends and help them come up with a plan to vote. Let's do the best we can, and I'll see you on the other side. Stay safe and peace.